Hey folks, Zach Osterman, Insider Indianapolis Star, talking to you about Indiana 42, UCLA 13, a dominant performance from Indiana. I think, listen, we spent the first 2 weeks of this season, asking how much of what Indiana was doing was a function of offseason improvement, Curt Cignetti and his staff, and those sorts of things, and what was a function of the teams Indiana was playing. And especially when you look at UCLA's schedule, I think there's a decent chance they might only win 3 games. But it's still a conference game on the road in the Rose Bowl against a team that, against a more favorable schedule, would probably be a little bit better than what I think their final record is going to wind up being. And Indiana's up 21-7 in this game, or 21-0 in this game before UCLA scores a touchdown. It never gets to within one score again. Indiana, Curt Cignetti, I think he harped on during the broadcast, and he'll probably harp again next week on the way that Indiana finished the second quarter. But the flip side is his team scored 14 points in the first quarter. It scored 14 points in the fourth quarter. It was 5 of 5 with 5 touchdowns in red zone opportunities. There was nothing at all, nothing remotely, sort of smoke and mirrors or inflated about this game. Indiana with 430 total yards of offense to UCLA's 238. Indiana forced 2 turnovers. They sacked UCLA's quarterback Ethan Garbers twice. They didn't allow a sack all game. UCLA, I think one of the big talking points from UCLA's defense after that Hawaii game, I think they had something like 14 or 15 tackles for loss in that game. They only had 4 in this game. Indiana only lost 5 yards on tackles for loss in this game. That's a remarkable number against, I don't care who you're playing. If it's a conference game and you're only losing 5 total yards of offense on negative plays, penetration, tackle for loss plays, that's an outstanding number. We talked a lot about how it's kind of been Indiana's run game that has kind of set the tone through these first couple weeks, and I think that's probably been by design. Indiana has sort of allowed, the run game to just kind of dictate things, not ask Curtis Rourke to do too much, not maybe expose too much in the passing game. Rourke was outstanding tonight. 25. I've got the stats up here on my computer. Obviously, by the way, I'm at home. Mike Neisluck made the trip. I did not. Forgive me if you want some Boy Scout popcorn, my home office is full of it right now. So, holler at me if you want to order some Boy Scout popcorn. I can hook you up, no problem. But Curtis Rourke, 25 of 33, 307 yards, 4 touchdowns. I don't know if they have in this particular, on third downs, Indiana was 9 of 12 on third downs. Curtis Rourke was 9 of 9 on third downs for 128 yards. That is unbelievable. And I'm not trying to sort of overdo this, but those numbers are just, to be 9 of 12 to convert 75% of your third downs. Again, on the road in a conference game, I understand that UCLA is probably going to have, by all measures, it looks like they're probably going to have a fairly modest season, but Indiana averaged 14.2 yards per completion on third down throws. That's when you're at your best in crunch situations, 9 of 12 on third downs, 9 of 9 passing on third downs, 14 plus yards per completion on third downs. And Indiana was 5 of 5 with 5 touchdowns and red zone opportunities. Those numbers are just, that's outstanding. That, it does not matter who you're playing. It doesn't matter what the context is. Those numbers are really, really good. The penalties will be the one piece that Curt Cignetti will want cleaned up. 14 penalties for 127 yards is obviously way too much on both counts. I think, Indiana fans would probably like to debate a couple of those. There were 2 targeting calls in there that, in fairness, according to the letter of the law, I thought were the right decision. We can obviously debate targeting until we're blue in the face, but in the end, it doesn't really hurt Indiana. It's still a dominant defensive performance. If you're Indiana, you should not need D'Angelo Pons or CJ West in the first half against Charlotte next week. And so you'll be okay there. I think the only one that I really did not understand personally was the roughing call. I don't understand what the idea, how we've managed to introduce the question of a quarterback in a passing posture becoming defenseless when a quarterback's on the field to throw the ball, like he's got to be in a passing posture. Never mind the fact that Garbers wasn't in a passing posture by the time the contact came. He was trying to protect himself because he saw Linnell Carr coming. I thought that one was a little bit dubious, but listen, even that drive, I think it was that drive in particular with the roughing call and the targeting call. If it wasn't, it was anyway. It was the drive that ended in UCLA's last points, which was the fourth quarter field goal. Even then, that was a long drive for UCLA. It was an 11-play, 66-yard drive, 6.5 minutes, and it got extended a number of times by penalties, by third down conversions, things like that. And still, Indiana's defense bowed up, dug in its heels, and forced a field goal that, with the benefit of the hindsight of how the game plays out, pretty much ended the game. Because it felt very much like UCLA needed to punch that in. And when they didn't, when they only got it to 28-13 and Indiana countered with an immediate touchdown, that was it. So we'll have a lot more, obviously, indystar.com/sports, heraldtimesonline.com. Again, Mike's out there. Greg Doyle's writing tonight. I'm writing tonight. But it's hard to understate. I mean, this is a real proof of concept victory for Indiana in a lot of ways. Just the way transfers played, the offense defense balance, the ability to play through some mistakes, the ability to play through, I don't want to say a lot of adversity because Indiana was in control for a lot of this game, but certainly at least some adversity. This was just a really, really good performance from Indiana. It's hard for me to remember in a non-COVID season a road performance from Indiana in Big Ten play that was this impressive. It's been a while. So we'll leave it there for tonight. Obviously, we'll have a lot more tonight and into tomorrow. I think Mike will be traveling back kind of early week next week, so we probably won't get the podcast. I probably won't get the podcast out until midweek, I would say, Tuesday or Wednesday. But until then, for the Indianapolis Star, I'm Zach Osterman. Again, Indiana 42, UCLA 13. Hoosiers are 3-0. They're 1-0 in the Big Ten, and they are home noon Saturday against Charlotte. Thank you so much for watching. We'll talk to you soon.